So I got the Saab to fire up last night using some starter fluid. Today I hope to make it run under its own fuel supply. I don't know yet, but I have a feeling that the pressure is not really getting to the mechanical pump. It could be the pump also, the injection pump, but I have a feeling that fuel is not even getting there. What I'm going to do in a minute is to take off the fuel line once again up here and make sure that fuel gets there, and if not, then trace it back. Because I did get some fuel at the fuel filter up here when testing out the pump last time, but it was only a little bit. And because I need to make sure that fuel is actually getting to the mechanical K-jet injection pump system before I even think about taking that out and disassembling that and cleaning that up, because that could end up being slightly complicated. But before doing that, I have done a little bit of research on the car. I told you in the first video that this apparently should have 196 horsepower in the Commander edition. That's at least something you can read about on a lot of forums, and but also you can read that some say it's an urban myth. What I have found out, I actually, by the help of the Saab community, got a hold of the original sales brochure in French, but I got it translated. And this one, it states that this car got different tires, special color, the steering wheel that I'm missing, unfortunately, the dash and other bits. Actually, the brochure also states that it got adjustable side mirrors. I didn't think it had that. The brochure is not saying anything about the air condition, but the most important bit is the engine. According to the brochure, it is a 155 horsepower, just like all the other normal 8-valve engines. There's no difference. It states that 2 places in the brochure, but then at one point in the brochure, it actually states 144. It is of course a typo. Maybe that is what made the urban myth about this car. I don't know. But then I actually talked to someone who owned one of these, who told me that it wasn't delivered with the higher output engine as stock. It was a optional thing that you could add on to the Commander to get the M-type, I think it's called, APC system fitted, or box fitted, and then it should deliver around 193 or 4 horsepower, so thereabout. But it's still just a myth. I really don't know if it's true. I also heard about a different camshaft and some other different stuff, but I don't think that's true. But what I do know is it's really easy to achieve at least 185 horsepower on this engine. 195 is on the edge according to people who knows these engines well, but I'm still doing research. If anyone knows anything, if anyone got maybe a picture of the optional list for this car stating that you could get it with the M box, that would be nice. So, but I'm still researching on that, and it's really, really exciting. So now I'm going to test if fuel is actually getting to the pump. I'm going to disconnect the connection at the fuel filter up here and see if fuel is actually being pumped there. I did see some when I tested the pump the first time, I did exactly that, loosened it up, and I saw fuel seeping out. But I don't know if there's a lot of pressure, and it could be old fuel that was pushed through, and maybe there is an airlock or something in the system. I don't know. I'm just going to try to at least check all possibilities before I dig into that injection system. And last night I actually woke up in the middle of the night and thought, the car is right now lifted in the rear because I wanted to have access to what I thought was the fuel pump, but it's another fuel filter underneath the tank. Therefore the rear end is really high, and I only put in 10 liters of fuel. So maybe because of the angle of the car, the fuel pump cannot really reach the fuel. It could be a possibility. But let's test if fuel is getting to this filter up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up this connection. Oh, sorry. That should be enough to see if fuel comes out. Let's try to make it run by jumping it. Oh, there we go. Now we have fuel, but it took a while. But we have fuel at this point. Now we know. But it did take a while. I'm gonna refit the fuel relay. And then to be a little bit methodical, I'm gonna attempt to start it, because maybe that was all that needed to be done. Most likely not, but still, I'm gonna attempt it. Oh, it actually made a sound. I don't think that can be starter fluid from yesterday. Let's try again. Nothing really. Maybe I should try to open up one of these connections and see if I even get fuel at those. So I have removed one of the pipes. So when I crank the engine, some fuel should be coming out of that. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So I now know that I got fuel at the fuel filter, but the fuel is not coming from the fuel filter through the pump and up to the injectors. So the issue is around there. But what I want to eliminate before going any further is that maybe it still has something to do with the angle. Maybe it's just a little bit of the fuel and not really being able to build up a pressure. I think it's a bit unlikely, but still, it's in my brain. I need to at least attempt it. So I'm going to lower the rear end again and then do the same test with the injector. Coming down, like that. So before doing anything else, I'm going to attempt once more. The pump is for sure sounding a bit more right now. Before it had a bit of sound to it. And that is air. So maybe I'm actually onto something. Yeah, it's most definitely building up pressure now. I really think we are onto something. I really think the angle of the car was the issue. Let's try to crank it for a while. Okay, so maybe not. Can you sense my optimism? But it is definitely sounding different from the pump. So I'm just going to test if we have any pressure up at the fuel pressure regulator, I think it's called. Oh yeah, there is pressure at this point at least. Fuel is coming out. That should be good news, at least for this side. I'm just going to crank it a bit more to build up the pressure. pretty sure that there came some fuel out of this now. Oh yes, that's fuel. Still a bit old, but fuel is here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's slightly moist back there, and fuel came out of this. Very little though. But let's try one more time and see if it happens one more time. Before doing that, I'm just going to disconnect the ignition module, because I don't want it to start while I have the fuel lines disconnected. It's not a lot, but it is coming out. I think we should reconnect that. Oh, exciting. I am going to reconnect it. The ignition module. Now I actually think there is a pretty big chance that this engine will fire up, because now I know fuel is getting there. It wasn't a lot, but the pressure wasn't building. So I think pressure won't really build with the ignition module not connected. So I don't know for sure, but let's try. I really need a new battery. It's completely charged, but still, there's not a lot of power. Okay, so I have an idea. Because if I fool the engine into thinking that more air is coming into it than it actually is, then it will put more pressure to the injectors, I think. And that should force the fuel into the combustion chambers. So what I'm going to attempt is to fool the system into thinking that a lot of air is coming through, and that way make it force more fuel into the injectors. I'm gonna hold it up a little bit. Oh yeah, I think that is doing the trick actually. Oh yeah. I'm gonna keep on doing this until that I can get it to idle a little bit by controlling the height of this with my hands. Just get a little bit of fuel through the system and then shut it off again and try to reassemble it. It's difficult. But I'm gonna try to put the elbow back on to see if we can make it do all this on its own now. Like that. Then let's see. Are you serious? Trying to check that everything is as it is supposed to be. We're gonna see if it can move. Don't even know if the clutch is working. Seems to be working. Let's try to just gently. That's amazing. What? Oh yeah, and I cannot switch it off. Not using the key at least. That will not be possible. This is brilliant news. It's running under its own fuel supply now. It's not perfect. I can hear that it's not really wanting to take revs just yet. But I think all of the injectors were kind of clogged and everything needs to be wakened up. Good thing would be to take it all apart and clean it. But also I can just hope that it will come alive like this. And I think it will. It seems to do that. You saw me moving the car slightly using the gearbox. So the clutch is working. Of course, it needs to be serviced, but it's working and it seems to be able to move. There are no brakes at all, only the handbrake, which is actuated on the front brake calipers as far as I know on these. So it's good enough to move it about. I'm going to attempt to move it out of the garage because I really need the workspace for other stuff. So yeah, the ending credits on this video will be me backing out of the garage and maybe falling into the ditch on the other side. But hey, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.